Good day, everyone. So we will now continue discussing one of the central tendency or measures of central tendency, which is your mode. But before that, let me share my screen. And I hope that you got to experience how to solve and comprehend the other measure of central tendency, which is your median. Okay. That median is the second type of measures of central tendency. No? And then, as we all know, that we have two cases emphasized for this discussion. When the number of cases are odd, and of course, when the scores are even, so we have to follow that particular case because by that we could actually identify what is the median score should be done, no, or should we get. Okay. And of course, for this particular part, we really have to arrange our data from lowest to highest. No? Sir, bakit lowest to highest lang ba? No, you can actually arrange it from highest to lowest, but for the purpose of not to confuse anything. So we really have to stick on this particular arrangement, no? Doon lang tayo sa lowest to highest na arrangement. Okay. And of course, we discuss about the median of ungrouped data, and then we really have to follow the rule, no? If we have cases na add and then even. And then right after that, we have our median for group data. And of course, we have here the formula that we are to use. For you really not to confuse for this particular topic, you really have to understand the variables of each variable for this formula, no? Because if we're going to look at the variable, meron siyang particular rulings, no, for you to get the value. So we have to understand that. If you feel that that is very confusing, you just have to go back to the discussion, no? Balik-balikan lang tong video na to. Okay, and then of course we have here the steps in solving our median for group data. We're in the first thing to do is to find our CF value, no? Okay, and I believe you are very familiar how to get the n over 2 because I think the n over 2 is also one of the easy part of this particular of this formula. The same with the CI because for the class interval, you really have you just have to count, no, the other category. So sa'yo na gid kayo siya. And then we also have here our example, the properties of the median, and then of course when to use the median. So I hope that by that discussion and by answering our activity or by just reading first our activity, you got to experience how to solve it, no? And then I believe the reason why we really have to solve our certain problems, no, why do we have to have problem solving? Because we have to apply the knowledge that we get coming from the discussion. So by that, you will test. Actually, that is the test for yourself if nasabtan ba gid ang discussion. Okay. So by that, I think we are ready now to proceed to the next topic or the next part of our measure of central tendency, which is your mode. Okay, measure of central tendency mode. Mode is the third measure of central tendency. Okay, and then the mode or the model score is a score or scores that occurred most in the distribution. I think if mean for you is easy to compute, I think sa tatlong measures of central tendency so far that I discussed natin, including this mode I think is one of the easiest, no? Because for the mode, for you to identify the mode, all you have to do is to find the score or scores, no? Because you can actually get two or more scores here. Scores occurred most in the distribution. So hanapin mo lang yung mas marami na number, and that is the mode of that particular data. Okay. Okay, and of course, since I did mention to you that you can actually get or you can find two or more scores, yeah, that is true because our mode here, na siya tulukabo classifications. You have the uni-model, you have bi-model, and then of course we have tri-model, and then you also have multi-model. For uni-model, that is a distribution of scores that consists of only one mode. So isa ra ka score ang ato makita. So uni means to say single, one. When we say bi, therefore you have two. So distribution of scores that consists of two modes. And then tri-model is a distribution of scores that consists of three modes. Okay, and then of course multimodal, that is more than three modes. So you can actually get that. And then, okay, so we have here our first examples. I hope that you get the basic concepts of mode. So we have our example 1. Scores of 10 students in section A, section B, and section C. Let's try to identify their mode. No? So let's have first scores of section A. Okay. So tingnan natin kung saan yung mas maraming number na nag-course. We have 25, we also have 24, we have 20, we have 16, 12, 10, and 7. If we're going to notice, our scores are arranged from highest to lowest. No? So pwede natin itong baliktarin. You can have lowest to highest. Okay. So tingnan natin kung saan yung mas maraming number na nag-occur or na nag-recur. Yung 25, isa lang. No? Isa lang yung 25 natin. We have 2 24s. We have 3 20s. No? We have 1 16. We only have 1 12. You only have 1 10. And then you also have 1 7. So ang pinakamarami, 20. Yan. So the mode for this score, no, the mode of this score for section A is 20. Okay, so there is only one mode, therefore score distribution is called uni-model. Kasi nga isa lang, 20. Okay, so uni-model na siya, and then the mode is 20. Next, for scores of section B, you have 25. This is arranged also from highest to lowest. We have 25, we have 24, 20, 18, 17, 10, 9, and 7. So you have that. Okay, and then if we're going to look at observe, you only have 125, you have 2 24s, 120, no, isa lang yung 20 natin, dalawang 18, isang 17, isang 10, isang 9, at saka isang 7. Tingnan natin yung ang pinakamarami, we have 24. Okay, and then right after that, you have 18. So yung dalawang nag-uulit na number, you have 24 and 18. Dalawang 24, dalawang 18. Therefore, the mode of these scores are 24 and 18. And this is an example of a bi-model. Next, for scores of section C, we have 25, we have number 22, we have 21, and then 18. We have 3 25, so tatlong 25 tayo, tatlo ba? 1, 2, 3. Isang 22, tatlong 21, at saka tatlong 18. Therefore, the mode of or the modes of this section or scores of section C are 25, 21, and 18. So you have 3, therefore this is an example of a tri-model distribution. Okay, so that is for mode for ungrouped data. So that is how you find or determine your mode and of course the classification of your mode. Next, let's proceed to the mode for grouped data. Okay, for a while. So if you're going to look at the formula, medyo meron siyang similarity with your median. No? And then all you have to do here, the same with your median, you have to follow a certain rule when it comes to a specific variable for you to identify the value of the variable. For a while. For a while, no. I am changing my microphone. Okay, I hope that is clear. If we're going to look at the formula once again, you would notice that meron siyang similarity with the formula sa mean. And then if you're going to look at each variable, meron ding similarity. Like for example, our LB. LB here is again the lower boundary of the model class. Sa median natin, tinatawag natin siyang median class. But for the mode, we call it model class. Okay. So for LB, lower boundary of the model class, and therefore model class or MC, this is the category containing the highest frequency. So mas madali siyang ma-identify. Hindi kagaya ng sa median class that you have to understand what is the value of the cumulative frequency and so on. But for here, all you have to do is to find the highest frequency, and that is now the model class or the category. So that is your MC. And then how to get your D1. D1 daw is the difference between the frequencies. So when we say difference, so this is now um an output, no? And then an output of your subtraction. So we have difference here. So difference or the difference between the frequency of the model class and then the frequency above it. Okay, when the scores are arranged from lowest to highest. So that is why we really have to stick to, for the purpose of learning and then for the purpose of not to confuse you with the rulings, we have to arrange our scores from lowest to highest so that automatically we can follow this rule, no? Because if we are going to do it the other way, we have to follow the other way around. Okay, but for the case of lowest to highest score, all you have to do is to get the difference between the frequency of the model class and then the frequency above it. So that is the value of D1. And then the value of D2 is the difference between the frequency of the model class and the frequency below it when the scores are also arranged from lowest to highest. And of course, for the class interval, all you have to do is to count the category. So mag-count lang ka, and then you can actually automatically can determine, or easily you can determine the value of your CI or class interval. Okay, so let's try to get this example. This is an example of a grouped data, no? So scores of 40 students in a science class consist of 60 items and they are tabulated below. So we already have our categories, different categories, 10 to 54. If you are going to look at the first column, we can actually say that 10 is the lowest score and 54 is the highest score. Okay, and then our frequency for this particular category, you have 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 9, 6, 3, and 5. Sige. Now let's try to look at the value of each. Okay. Sige. Let me try opening another document. Okay. I believe nakikita niyo yan nakikita niyo siya. Okay, so that is for mode for group data. So in solving the mode using group data, use the formula. So you have X bar is equal to LB, that is the lower boundary, plus quantity D1 divided by D1 plus D2, and CI, or the class interval. Okay. So do not forget the rule, no, for each variable, for you to identify the value of your model class, for you to identify and determine the value of D1 and D2. Okay. So mo ni siya nga to ang table kaganina. So first and foremost, according to our step, okay, according to here, we have to find the model class daw. Okay. Sir, hindi po ba pwede natin kunin yung LB? We cannot actually get LB because hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung category na yung kukunan natin ng LB. Remember, this is a category. Isang category yan. Ma-zoom ko nga. Okay. Pag sinasabing category, isang ganyan, no? Parang isang interval, kumbaga. Okay. That is one category. Okay. So that is it. And then actually, tinatawag dito, parang tinatawag din siya for this particular topic, tinatawag siyang model class. So this is a model class, another model class, and then another model class. So first and foremost, we have to identify our model class. So how to identify our model class? According to our formula, model class is a category containing the highest frequency. So ang pinakaunang hahanapin natin is yung may pinakamataas na frequency, 523529635. Therefore, the highest frequency is 9. Hanapin natin kung saan saan nakalinya ang 9 dito. Therefore, our MC is 35 to 39. So that is our model class. So that is why ito yung nakalagay, 35 to 39. Okay. Now, we can now identify our LL. So kailangan natin malaman yung LL because from LL, remember LL is the lower boundary, lower limit, no? Sir, ano nga yung lower limit? Lahat ng dito ng sa side na to, left side, no? We call them lower limits. On the right side of our category, that is what we call the upper limit. Okay. So why do we have to emphasize lower limit? Because of this lower limit, we can get now the lower boundary. No? So how to get lower boundary again? For the lower boundary, for you to identify, to determine it, so you just have to subtract the lower limit to 0.5. Okay. So we have here our value, no? We have LB. Instead of 35, we have 34.5. And then for D1, so bakit naging 7? Yung D2, bakit naging 3? It is because, according to the rule, yung sinabi kanina, D1 daw is the difference between the frequency. Ito yung frequency natin, di ba? Okay. Between the frequency of the model class, this is our model class, 35 to 39. And this is the frequency of the model class, 9. So according to D1, D1 daw is the difference between the frequency of the model class and the frequency above it. So ano ba yung frequency above 9? Diba 2? So we have here 9 minus 2. That is why you have 7. Next for D2, according to the rule, D2 daw is the difference between the frequency of the model class. Again, this is our model class, 35 to 39. The frequency of the model class is 9. So to determine D2, all you have to do is find the difference between the frequency of the model class, this one, 9, and the frequency below it. So what is the frequency below 9? That is 6. 9 minus 6, you got 3. So that is why our D1 is equal to 7 and D2 is equal to 3. Now for our class interval, ang dali lang, no? All you have to do is to count our, you can actually choose any of these classes. So yung una, all you have to do is to count, no? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then you get 5. Okay, so that is now your CI is equal to 5. So you are done identifying the value of each variable. So we have to plug it in sa formula natin. Okay, so we have our LB. LB is equal to 34.5. Plug it in. We have D1 is 7, divided by D1 again is 7, plus D2 that is 3, and our class interval is 5. So unahin natin itong nasa parenthesis. So we have 7 divided by 7 plus 3. You have 35, 35 divided by 10, and then you will get 38. So that is now our mode for group data. Now let's try to look at how to analyze or interpret our mode, no? So let's try to look at. Okay. So ito. So the analysis, very short. The mode of the score distribution that consists of 40 students is 38 because 38 occurred several times. Sir, sadali lang, no? Bakit pa natin nalaman na nag-occur yung ano natin, what you call this, yung 38 ng several times, hindi naman natin nakita yung data. Yes, although hindi natin nakikita yung data, but then again, no, according to our mode, 38 daw occurred several times. So tingnan natin, balik tayo sa ating data para naman may makitang rason bakit naging 38 siya at bakit nahusgahan na mas marami siya or nag-occur siya several times. Please take note that 38 belongs to this model class, 35 to 39. It simply means that if we're going to look at the frequency here, the frequency of the model class 35 to 39, siya yung nakakuha ng pinakamataas na frequency. So ibig sabihin pala, sa loob ng 35 to 39, yung 38 pala yung mas maraming nag-occur, no? Or nag-recur sa 35 to 39. Okay? So yan yung interpretation. So sa loob pala ng 35 to 39, kung isusulat talaga natin yan sa data, yung raw na data, mas marami pa daw yung 38 na value compared to 35, compared to 36, compared to 37, and compared to 39. Okay. So I hope you get it, no? So that is how we interpret our mode. Okay. So I hope that you get it, no? And please, if you have questions on how to solve it, please go back to our to this video, no? Balik-balikan lang natin. Okay. So let us continue. Right after that, the properties of the mode. So it can be used when the data are qualitative as well as quantitative. So kahit anong klaseng data yan, you can use mode, no? Number two, it may not be unique. No? Ibig sabihin, probably the value is really part of the data set, somewhat like that. It is not affected by extreme values. The same with our median. It cannot be affected by the outliers, as we say. No? Yung mean lang talaga yung naapektuhan ng mga extreme values. Because if median is positional, our mode naman is more on distribution or kung the recurrence of a particular score, no? Yun na yung concern niya. And the number 4, it may not exist. Okay. And then the other one, when to use the mode when the typical value is desired. If you wanted very, very typical value, all you have to do is to count and to find kung anong yung number or yung score or yung data or yung score na nagpapaulit-ulit ng marami. Okay? That is very typical. Number 2, when the data set is measured on a nominal scale, please take note that the nominal scale is the if we're going to rank it, the lowest, the lowest level of measurement. So that is what we call nominal scale. Okay. So that's it. I hope that you get the discussion on mode. Right after this one, I will be discussing the rest of the measure of central tendency, which is the quantiles after this one. Thank you so much. If you have questions, you may ask me sa GC, and of course, if you can naman, if
if you hesitate to ask or siguro parang kaya naman, you just have to go back to this video and then try to answer our activity. Thank you and God bless everyone.